Picture this. Tens of thousands of army flooding an arena. Purple light sticks swaying in every direction. Music thundering through the walls. Every single pair of eyes locked onto one person on that stage. Park Jimin. The man who always smiles. The man who always gives everything he has for his fans. And then, without warning, his body sways. His knees buckle, and he falls. The entire arena freezes. Army who were singing just a second ago go completely silent. Some burst into tears. Some scream his name over and over. Some stand there in complete disbelief, unable to process what they just witnessed with their own eyes. Is Jimin okay? What actually happened? And was this the first time? You're in exactly the right place. Because today, we're going to walk through everything you need to know about the most shocking moments in Park Jimin's career. The story of an idol whose spirit refused to give up, even when his body already had. Stay with me. This is going to be a long one, and it's going to hit deep. Before we get into the dramatic moments, let's take a step back and remember, who exactly is Park Jimin? Born on October 13th, 1995, in Busan, South Korea, Jimin joined Big Hit Entertainment as a trainee and debuted with BTS in 2013. Out of all 7 members, Jimin has always been known as one of the most perfectionist. He's the kind of person who simply will not stop rehearsing until everything feels flawless, even when his body is begging him to rest. And that's exactly why this story matters so much. We see Jimin on stage all the time, his breathtaking smile, the way he moves like water, his voice soft yet loaded with emotion. But behind all of that, there's a level of sacrifice that most of us watching from the outside rarely even think about. ARMY doesn't love Jimin just because of his talent. They love him because they can feel how hard and how genuinely he tries. And when someone that strong is suddenly seen falling, it feels like the whole world stops turning for a moment. Now let's go through, one by one, the moments that made ARMY around the world hold their breath. We start with a moment that happened on August 18, 2015, a date that millions of ARMY remember as the day their hearts nearly stopped. BTS was holding a fan meeting in Japan. The event was lively and full of energy. The members were interacting with fans, laughing, playing games. The atmosphere was warm, full of love. Then, in one of the game segments, Jimin was asked to hold his breath for a full minute. Jimin, being Jimin, did it with everything he had. Nobody expected that such a simple little game would end the way it did, because holding his breath for too long shocked his nervous system. His body lost its balance. And right there, in front of thousands of fans who had come just to see him, Jimin fell off the stage. Screams tore through the venue. The other members reacted instantly. Staff came running. And Jimin, the man who always tried to appear strong in front of ARMY, was rushed to Sumitomo Hospital to receive emergency care. News spread around the world like wildfire. Twitter exploded. Trending topics started popping up everywhere. ARMY from every corner of the globe stayed awake through the night, waiting for any update on his condition. Finally, Big Hit Entertainment management released an official statement. They explained in detail what had happened. Jimin had lost consciousness due to the effects of holding his breath for too long, which disrupted his nervous system and caused him to lose his balance. And the most relieving part? Big Hit confirmed that Jimin was okay and his condition had stabilized. They also issued an apology to fans and audience members who had witnessed the frightening incident, and they promised to pay closer attention to the health and safety of all BTS members going forward. But the story doesn't end there, because the most touching part came right after. Jimin himself appeared and wrote a message to ARMY through BTS's official Twitter account. In his signature style, humble, with a light touch of humor even in a difficult moment, he wrote, "Falling off the stage was so embarrassing. I'm resting well, so please don't worry." And that short, simple message melted the hearts of millions of ARMY at once. That right there is where you see who Jimin truly is. When he was the one who needed to be worried about, he was the first one to reassure everyone else. But that Japan incident was only one of many moments that opened our eyes to just how hard Jimin pushes himself in the pursuit of perfection. In 2017, an official BTS book titled The Wings concept book was released. And inside that book, for the very first time, Jimin spoke honestly about his struggles behind the scenes, a confession that left a lot of people speechless. Jimin revealed that during the blood, sweat, and tears era, He had been following an extremely strict diet. Not a regular diet. A diet so intense that he lost 7.5 kilograms in a very short period of time. Think about that. An idol who was already running on an incredibly packed schedule, training, recording, filming, promotions, chose to drastically restrict his food intake on top of all of that. Not because anyone forced him to, but because he set that standard for himself. And what was the result? Jimin admitted that he frequently passed out during dance practice. Not once, not twice, but regularly. He was training with a body that was starving for energy, and when his body finally reached its limit, he collapsed, then got back up, then went right back to training. There was even a moment captured in official BTS behind-the-scenes footage where Jimin passed out backstage at KBS. A moment that completely stunned every member who was there. Nobody saw it coming. They were all used to seeing Jimin as the strong one. Always the strong one. When this confession finally reached ARMY's ears, the response was enormous. Within no time, the hashtag #JiminYouArePerfect began trending worldwide. A spontaneous movement by millions of fans who wanted Jimin to know that he was already more than enough. That he didn't need to torture himself to meet anyone's standards. The message from ARMY was simple but profound. Jimin, you are perfect. Please take care of yourself. Now, there's another angle to this story that's just as moving. And this is a moment a lot of you might not even know about. In the middle of everything Jimin was personally going through, there was a concert where it was actually him who stopped his own performance out of concern for an ARMY. Picture it. Jimin is singing on stage. The spotlight is on him. Thousands of people in the crowd are singing every word along with him. But in the middle of the song, Jimin's eyes catch something wrong in the crowd. An ARMY near the front doesn't look right. There's a small disturbance. And Jimin, who should have been entirely focused on his performance, stops singing. He crouches down at the edge of the stage. His eyes search through the crowd with a look of unmistakable concern. The audience watching him was confused at first. What's wrong with Jimin? Why did he stop? Is he the one who isn't feeling well? But then the truth came out. An ARMY had fainted in the crowd. And Jimin was the first one to notice. He didn't continue the song until the staff helped that fan get the care they needed. That moment went viral. And Jimin's name even trended on Twitter in Chicago after the concert ended. Not because of his stunning performance, but because of his completely genuine, unprompted concern for one single fan among thousands. This isn't just an idol who loves his fans on paper. This is a human being who truly feels the presence of every single person in the room. And just when you think the story is over, life had one more test waiting for Jimin. On the night of January 30th, 2022, Jimin suddenly felt a sharp, intense pain in his abdomen. Not the kind of pain you sleep off. The kind that sent him straight to the emergency room. The diagnosis, acute appendicitis. And if that wasn't enough, during the examination, his test results also came back positive for COVID-19. Two conditions. At the same time, in one single night, Big Hit Music quickly released an official statement informing the public about Jimin's condition. Surgery was performed in the early hours of that same night. And Jimin went through all of it alone. Far from the stage, far from the spotlight, far from the roar of ARMY's cheers that always gave him strength. It was in a moment like that when a lot of people truly realized for the first time, Jimin is just a human being, not a robot, not an entertainment machine, a person who can get sick, who can be fragile, who can be scared. The good news, Jimin recovered. With the right medical care and enough time to rest, his condition stabilized. Management assured ARMY that Jimin was doing well and that his recovery was progressing smoothly. But that experience left a deep mark on Jimin, on every member of BTS, and on the millions of fans who spent those days sending prayers from every corner of the world. Do you know what makes all of these stories worth talking about? Not the sensationalism, not the drama, but the lesson underneath all of it. Jimin, someone who always looks flawless on stage, teaches us something deeply human. That loving something with your whole heart doesn't mean you have to destroy yourself in the process. For years, Jimin battled standards he set for himself. Standards that were too high. Standards that sometimes made him collapse during rehearsal. Standards that had him starving himself for a performance he believed had to be perfect. But ARMY never wanted that perfection. What ARMY always wanted was a Jimin who was healthy. A Jimin who was happy. A Jimin who was simply there. And slowly, over time, Jimin learned that too. He learned that taking care of yourself isn't a sign of weakness. It's a form of self-love just as important as the love he has for his art and for his fans. And there's one more thing worth remembering from all of this. Every time Jimin fell, literally and figuratively, he always got back up. Not in a rush, not by forcing himself, but in his own way, with the support of BTS members who were always there for him, and with the energy from every single ARMY who never stopped loving him. Because that's how the relationship between BTS and ARMY works. Not a one-way street between idol and fan, but a bond that genuinely grows and evolves together. So, how is Jimin doing now? After completing his mandatory military service, Jimin has returned to BTS, and the world is waiting with full anticipation to see what they'll bring next. Jimin's journey as a solo artist has also shown just how much he has grown, not just as a singer and dancer, but as a person who knows himself far better than before. And most importantly of all, Jimin looks healthier, happier, and more at peace than ever. And honestly, that is the greatest victory we could ever witness. Dear ARMY, Jimin's story isn't just the story of an idol who once collapsed on a stage. It's a story about persistence, about how deeply someone can love what they do, to the point where their body gives out, but their spirit simply refuses to. It's a story about community, about how millions of people from all over the world can come together in one moment to say, "We're here. We care. You are not alone." And it's a story about a journey, one that isn't over yet, one that will keep going. So to Jimin, if these words could reach him in any way, thank you. Thank you for continuing to stand on that stage, even when it felt impossibly heavy. Thank you for getting back up every single time you fell. Thank you for reminding us all that strength isn't about never breaking down. It's about keeping going even when you do. And to all of you, ARMY, who watched until the very end, you are amazing. Don't forget to hit like if this video touched your heart. Drop a comment below and tell me which Jimin moment has stayed with you the most. And subscribe so you never miss what we put out next. See you in the next one. Purple Heart. Purple You ARMY.